27 years ago, Paramount Pictures spared no expense, shelling out $600 million to bring the Nicolas Cage and John Travolta to create a new benchmark for Hollywood action films. With a solid script and a star-studded cast, the movie dropped the special effects and opted for practical effects. At the same time, it heavily incorporated Chinese-style aesthetics of violence. Upon its release, it immediately became a global sensation, raking in nearly $2 billion at the box office. Nearly 400,000 people gave it a whopping 8.5 rating. Yes, today we're talking about Hollywood masterpiece Face/Off. Without further ado, let's dive into the main feature. Sean is a senior detective at the FBI. He spent his life hunting down criminals, achieving numerous feats of valor. But in doing so, he's made plenty of enemies, none more hated than the repeat offender, Castor. It turns out, 6 years ago, while Sean was playing with his son at an amusement park, Castor, seeking revenge on the FBI, hid in the shadows and shot Sean. Unbeknownst to him, the bullet pierced through Sean's body, causing his young child to die a tragic death on the spot. The loss of his son haunts Sean, and for 6 long years, he's never given up on capturing Castor. Unlike other criminals, Castor is both mad and meticulous, flamboyant in his actions yet leaving few clues behind. And now, he's brewing up another massive scheme. Disguised as a priest, he infiltrates the Los Angeles Convention Center and installs a chemical bomb on the rooftop. Once detonated, it will quickly spread throughout Los Angeles, turning it into a living hell. However, in a fatal oversight, Castor's brother, Pollux, in a bid to save time, rents a private jet using his own account to assist Castor's escape from Los Angeles. The account information is quickly intercepted by the FBI. Sean immediately orders agents to tail them, then leads a team to the airport. As he expected, Castor arrives at the airport 30 minutes later, and the private jet taxis onto the runway, ready for takeoff. Faced with this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, Sean risks life and limb, driving a Hummer onto the runway to block the plane. Disguised as a flight attendant, the female agent hears the sirens and pulls out her weapon, attempting to gain control of the situation. Unfortunately, in the chaos, Pollux suddenly throws a box, knocking her weapon away, completing his counterattack. Seeing that the plane cannot take off normally, Castor quickly forces the agent into the cockpit, using her as leverage to coerce Sean into giving up the runway. A disgruntled Sean could only steer hard enough to avoid the plane before the collision, but he never expected Castor, in his depravity, to be so heartless. Not only does he open the cabin door to taunt, but he also kills the female agent in cold blood. Witnessing the gruesome sight of his subordinate's body, an enraged Sean grabs a pilot, personally taking the helm of a helicopter to pursue. As the private jet is about to take off, he firmly presses the chopper against its wings. The pilot is forced to violently pull up repeatedly, causing the wings to tear and eventually fail. Seizing the opportunity, Sean fires several shots, blowing up the engines, completely thwarting any chance of escape. In desperation, Castor kills the innocent pilot, turns the plane toward the hangar, and just in the nick of time shuts down the engines. Otherwise, they would have been reduced to ashes along with the plane. Unscathed, Castor pulls out his golden pistols, engaging in a fierce battle with the swarming agents. Several detectives rush forward recklessly to seize the glory but end up battered and bruised by Castor's unexpectedly formidable combat prowess. However, with the large number of detectives, Pollux is quickly overwhelmed and pinned to the ground. Seeing his brother captured, Castor is forced into a last stand. With nowhere else to turn, he retreats into the maintenance workshop, facing off against Sean, who arrives shortly after. The battle is intense, bullets hitting the control panel, igniting the engines. In the split second of ignition, Sean breaks free from the iron chains and leaps into the air. In the blink of an eye, the two are engaged in close combat, but Castor's gun is empty. He quickly kneels down, pleading desperately, but his right hand reaches for a hidden blade. Unfortunately, Sean is prepared. He kicks Castor away, rendering him lifeless on the ground. With his long-standing grudge finally resolved, Sean, who has been busy with work since his son's death, neglected his devoted wife, Eve. His daughter, Archer, has grown up, and now he can finally take a long vacation to make up for the years of neglect. However, unforeseen circumstances arise. The tech team discovers a hard drive in Pollux's briefcase, containing the design plans for the chemical bomb. But more troublesome is that they are unaware of the bomb's location and when it might detonate. Sean immediately interrogates Pollux, but no matter how much he threatens or bribes, he remains tight-lipped unless he sees his brother, Castor. With the situation dire, Sean is at a loss. Just as Sean is fretting over the situation, Hollis Miller from the tech department presents him with a brilliant solution. Castor isn't dead, but rather severely injured and has become a vegetable. Under the guidance of the professor, The tech department has made significant breakthroughs in human physiological reconstruction. Not only can they replicate human tissue, but transplants also heal rapidly without leaving any scars. Sean and Castor are almost identical in height, body shape, skin color, and even eye color. The professor can peel off Castor's facial skin and use advanced technology to create a deformation mask. Internally, it matches Sean's head, while externally, it presents Castor's facial features. Finally, they modify the voice to mimic Castor's voice, with Sean having studied Castor for years. This would be convincing enough. After extracting the information they need, they can transplant the skin back onto Sean. Initially, Sean is deeply resistant, but thinking of the millions of innocent civilians in Los Angeles, he has no choice but to join the plan. This mission is top secret, with no official records. Not even Sean's family will know. Without delay, they start the face-swapping surgery the next day. Before anesthesia, Sean removes his wedding ring and hands it to the assistant, instructing him to take good care of it. Once everything is ready, the professor outlines the contours with a marker, then slowly cuts through the epidermis with a laser. Through precise calculations by the computer, Sean's facial skin is smoothly removed. Next, they repeat the process on Castor, then transplant the skin back onto Sean. After a brief recovery, Sean and Castor's facial skins blend perfectly, despite being mentally prepared. Seeing himself now, Sean collapses in an instant, perhaps from the beginning. This was the wrong decision, but there's no turning back now. Extracting information about the dirty bomb is the top priority. Using a recording of Castor's voice, the professor calibrates the vocal chip in Sean's throat. According to the plan, he has 2 days. Then, the assistant will come to pick him up from prison. Shackled and unaware, Sean faces a journey of life and death. As the second in command at the FBI, now turned hardened criminal, Sean is thrown into a heavily guarded prison, tormenting both his body and mind. He must mimic Castor's demeanor as closely as possible without arousing suspicion from the cunning Pollux. Just as he was racking his brain over this, a group of prisoners led by the jailbird approached provocatively. Before fully immersing himself in the role, Sean is caught off guard by a sudden punch, leaving him bloodied and bruised. Seeing Pollux's contemplative expression, Sean realizes he must seize this rare opportunity. He quickly recalls everything about Castor and, after standing up, begins to perform convincingly. After successfully gaining Pollux's trust, Sean manages to learn that the dirty bomb is hidden in the Los Angeles Convention Center. He only needs to be picked up from prison by his assistant to defuse the crisis. However, he never could have imagined that Castor, who was diagnosed as a vegetable in the hospital, miraculously wakes up. A pang of fear grips him as he looks at the container holding Sean's facial skin, and evil thoughts flood Castor's mind. He quickly contacts his men and kidnaps the professor from the hospital, threatening him to transplant Sean's facial skin onto himself. After what feels like an eternity, the 2 days finally pass, and the day of release arrives. But to Sean's horror, as the prison door creaks open, he sees a shocking sight. It's not his assistant but Castor, with a new face, having undergone surgery. He has silenced all witnesses, meaning no one can help Sean prove his identity. He will be trapped in the dark confines of the prison, while Castor not only usurps his position but also takes over his wife and daughter. It's clear that the two of them are not on the same level in terms of charming women. With just a few sweet words, Castor reignites Eve's long-suppressed passion, and a candlelit dinner makes Eve rediscover her past excitement. What frustrates Sean even more is that Castor turns Pollux into a witness, saving him from prison. In utter despair, he turns to the prison guards for help, but they won't easily believe a hardened criminal. Faced with such dire circumstances, Sean must find a way to do something, and his only choice is to escape. Tasting the power, Castor's ambition quickly expands. He makes Pollux confess suddenly before the bomb detonates, deliberately creating a highly dangerous situation. By the time the bomb squad arrives, it's already too late. As he orders everyone to evacuate, he secretly enters the password to stop the bomb countdown. Consequently, he becomes the hero of Los Angeles, and the next FBI director is none other than him. Seeing Castor's actions in the news, Sean knows he must act immediately. He learns that the prisoner's iron shoes are only removed during electrocution. So, during the exercise yard, Sean deliberately attacks the guards, willingly undergoing electrocution. As the prison tyrant undergoes the punishment due to his earlier disturbance, the pain overwhelms him, causing him to collapse unconscious on the ground. Just as Sean anticipated, the prison guard, who had long disliked the tyrant, helps him remove his shoes, intending to teach him a lesson and establish authority. Completely unaware of what is to come next, as the electrocution is about to commence, the fallen tyrant suddenly springs into action, catching the guards off guard and knocking them down one after another. It turns out that Sean and the tyrant, despite their outward animosity, had secretly conspired to plan their escape. With weapons in hand, The two already formidable individuals become even more formidable. With only the sentry on the second floor armed with rifles posing a slight threat, Sean swiftly hurls a bottle of sulfuric acid into the air, timing it perfectly to shoot it down with a gunshot. Taking advantage of the fact that reinforcements have not yet arrived, Sean quickly escapes from the electric chair room. Freed from all restraints, the tyrant picks up weapons from the ground, revealing his ruthless nature. He shoots open the door to the control room, storms in, and kills all the guards inside. Sean, who arrives shortly afterward, immediately opens the cell doors, releasing all the prisoners, plunging the entire prison into chaos. The prison guards are vastly outnumbered to suppress the riot, making it the perfect opportunity for the two to escape. However, unfortunately, while covering for Sean, the tyrant is hit by several bullets and only Sean manages to escape. But as he looks around, he instantly feels utter despair. The prison isn't on land but is a modified offshore drilling platform. Before he can even calm himself down, an armed helicopter suddenly appears out of nowhere. Without thinking twice, Sean sprints away, facing intense aerial firepower. He uses every trick in the book to evade and hide, but sooner or later, he'll be shot with several holes. In desperation, he has no choice but to make a desperate attempt. After a sprint, he leaps with all his might from the platform tens of meters high, plunging into the vast ocean below, disappearing without a trace. Castor quickly learns of the prison riot and, upon hearing that Sean's body isn't found, an ominous feeling washes over him. If Sean isn't dead, he'll surely come back for revenge. Just as he's fretting, he happens to encounter Archer being harassed by her companions. In need of an outlet for his frustration, he beats the man mercilessly. On a whim, he even takes out a folding knife and gives it to Archer, telling her to stab her opponent's thigh and twist it when faced with a similar situation tonight, making the wound difficult to heal. And it is precisely this knife he gives away that will play an important role later in the episode. As expected, Sean miraculously survives the jump from the platform and has already stealthily returned to Los Angeles under the cover of night. His thorough research into Castor's circle leads him directly to the notorious drug lord, Dietrich. Seeking to enlist his help in taking down Castor, seeing his old friend escape death, Dietrich wastes no time and is fully committed to assisting. Quickly fetching a box containing Castor's impressive gear, little do they know, the man before them is not the real Castor. Sean earnestly lays out his plan, intending to sneak in and eliminate Castor while he sleeps on a dark and windy night, even casually revealing the security code for the house. At this point, one of the henchmen expresses considerable confusion about how Sean knows all these details, to which Sean brushes off casually.
Sleep with his wife.
The operation is set for the following night. Exhausted, Sean needs to rest well, but as soon as he enters his room, he receives a heavy punch from Sasha. It turns out she is Dietrich's own sister and was once in love with the real Castor, even bearing him a lovely son. Sasha sacrificed everything for Castor, but Castor, being naturally reckless, still doesn't know about the existence of their son. After hearing about Sasha's sad story, the kind-hearted Sean could only use this fake skin to sincerely apologize to both mother and son on Castor's behalf. Sasha is deeply moved by this sudden tenderness. However, they fail to notice that Pollux on the opposite rooftop has quietly called the police. Anticipating Sean's move to seek Dietrich's help, Castor quickly surrounds the building with a large contingent and orders no survivors, allowing for open fire. As the special forces breach the building, the brutal battle between the police and the criminals erupts in full force. The awakened Dietrich and his men immediately arm themselves and engage in a gunfight with the SWAT teams. Despite the police's superior equipment and numbers, Dietrich's men are all battle-hardened veterans, fearless and willing to fight to the death. Dietrich's firepower is particularly formidable, and even Sasha picks up a weapon from the ground, joining in the frenzied assault. At one point, the casualties among the SWAT teams are so severe that Castor is forced to urgently send reinforcements, launching a fierce attack from multiple directions. However, with their ammunition running out, Dietrich's men finally reach their breaking point, falling one by one under the relentless onslaught. Amidst the chaos, Castor secretly aims at Sasha and her child. In the heat of the moment, Dietrich deflected the fatal shot. He insists that Sasha and the child leave immediately and entrusts Sean with their care before finally succumbing to his wounds. Dietrich sacrifices himself for Sean, Igniting fury within him, he vows to tear Castor to pieces. As adversaries face each other, they engage in a passionate shootout through the glass. Despite their best efforts, neither gains the upper hand. Seeing Castor's reinforcements arriving, Sean decides to retreat and regroup. He shakes off the pursuers and reaches the rooftop, only to find Pollux, who seems determined to intercept him. Faced with the opportunity of a lifetime, Sean doesn't hesitate and delivers a flying kick that leaves a dodging Pollux in pieces. Witnessing his brother's death, Castor is consumed by grief and agony, stunning the nearby operatives. Castor, who initiated the violent confrontation, receives a reprimand from Chief Victor, who, in a fit of rage, suffers a heart attack. Seizing the moment, Castor swiftly strikes Victor's heart with a powerful blow, causing the aged chief to stop breathing instantly. After staging the scene, Castor calls for emergency aid, falsely claiming Victor suffered a sudden heart attack. Meanwhile, Sean sneaks into Castor's house while he's at work, attempting to confess to Eve and gain her trust. However, in her eyes, Sean's current appearance is that of a murderer who killed her son. Despite recounting their shared memories, Sean's efforts only deepen Eve's terror. Realizing Eve's doubts, Sean plays his trump card, revealing that he has O-type blood while Castor has AB-type. To confirm, he suggests testing the blood type when the opportunity arises. With tears in his eyes, Sean leaves after disclosing this information. His appearance provides Eve with answers, explaining why her once reserved husband suddenly became so eloquent. That night, while Castor sleeps, Eve secretly takes a blood sample, causing minimal pain similar to a mosquito bite, which doesn't raise Castor's suspicion. In the wee hours, Eve rushes to the hospital, eager to verify the blood types. Indeed, the results confirm AB type. Sean, already waiting at the hospital, never imagined that he and his wife would reunite under these circumstances. Noticing Sean's abdominal wound, Eve promptly tends to it, preventing infection. With Victor's demise, Castor is poised to become the next chief. However, if Sean doesn't act, the consequences will be dire. His only chance to eliminate Castor is at Victor's funeral in 3 days. Unable to personally bid farewell to his mentor, Sean mourns from afar, hoping Victor's spirit will guide him to rid the world of Castor. As Victor's funeral concludes, the ultimate showdown between life and death begins. As the cunning Castor has no intention of engaging in a fair duel with Sean, he uses Eve as a shield and sends his henchmen to intercept Archer at the church. Just as the situation becomes tense, Sasha arrives at the church in the nick of time after ensuring the safety of the child. However, before Sean and Sasha can seize control of the situation, another one of Castor's lackeys appears, plunging them into another precarious situation. With tensions running high, a fierce battle ensues, leaving Eve unscathed but Castor managing to escape amidst the chaos. Tragically, Sasha is struck by a bullet and lies critically wounded. Before departing, she entrusts her child to Sean, hoping the child will lead a righteous life and not follow in her footsteps. Sasha's death fuels Sean's anger, and he relentlessly fires upon Castor with dual pistols. Their battle escalates from the church to the upper floors of a building. Just as they reach a stalemate, Archer's sudden appearance catches Sean off guard. Unaware of the false Sean's identity, she panics, believing Sean intends to harm her, and frantically flees amidst the gunfire. With Castor's brutal firepower suppressing them, Sean's situation becomes dire. But just when all hope seems lost, a pigeon from above intervenes, allowing Sean to disarm Castor and engage in close-quarters combat. Eventually, Castor succumbs as Sean gains the upper hand by choking him. However, in the next moment, Archer retrieves a pistol from the ground and aims at both of them. Seeing an opportunity, Castor urges her to shoot, while Sean's attempts to reason with her prove futile. Fortunately, the bullet only grazes Sean's arm, but Archer becomes Castor's hostage. Dazed and confused, she only regains her senses through their conversation, deeply regretting her earlier actions. With Sean helpless against Castor, the latter unleashes his sadistic side. Unexpectedly, Archer suddenly pulls out the folding knife Castor gave her and viciously stabs her in the thigh. A battered Castor takes out the 2 agents arriving to support him and flees to the sea. Not daring to stop for a moment, commandeering a speedboat, Castor relentlessly fires upon Sean on the shore, causing 2 gas cylinders to explode violently. Sean, who was initially thought to have been buried in the fire, was miraculously unharmed and quickly caught up with Custer. The 2 engage in a high-speed boat chase, risking life and limb. Their perilous maneuvering quickly attracts the attention of the coastal patrol, leading to their interception. Castor, driven to desperation, opens fire indiscriminately at the police, resulting in 3 deaths and 1 injury among them. The next thing you know, he's swerving, forcing Sean, who can't dodge in time, to crash into the Marine police boat in front of him. Sean narrowly escapes, realizing he must stop Castor's rampage to prevent further harm to innocents. With all his strength, Sean lunges at Castor's boat, engaging in a fierce struggle to overpower him. As they both realize they are about to collide with obstacles on the beach, they crash to the ground and resume their intense fight. Custer grabs a crowbar and delivers a devastating blow to Sean, knocking him out cold. In a moment of agony, Sean spots a half-buried nail gun on the beach. Seizing the opportunity, he surprises Castor, crippling his other leg, rendering him powerless. Facing imminent demise, Castor refuses to let Sean go peacefully. He grips the nail gun about to discharge and ruthlessly mutilates his own face with a piece of iron, ensuring Sean can never return to his former self. With Castor's life extinguished, Sean finally avenges his mentor and son. Eve promptly alerts the authorities and reveals the truth, preventing Sean from being mistaken as a threat by law enforcement. Upon learning of Sean's deeds, high-ranking officials dispatched the finest surgeons from Washington, utilizing cutting-edge research to perform another surgery. In the film's conclusion, Sean's face is restored to its former glory through successful skin grafts. He also adopts Sasha's son, fulfilling her final wish and seeking to make amends for a lifetime of neglect towards his family. With this, the movie comes to an end. As a film enthusiast, I welcome you to subscribe to my channel. See you in the next episode.